Do you think suicide should be given as a service for those who want it and legalized? Heavily regulated, but yes. You can legalize it, but you can't advertise it. It would be like advertising cigarettes. In some situations, yes. However, without some very strict legislation, it could lead to suicide, assisted suicide, and the encouragement of by vulnerable people without the mental capacity, either through mental illness or developmental or intellectual disability. It depends. In theory, I would say no. But Switzerland seem to have figured it out, and the way they do it is by making it a very long legal process. It's also very strict. You need a good reason and medical certificates. You can't off yourself just 'cause you're having a shitty day. I'm not digging through all this. Someone needs to listen to what Terry Pratchett says on this subject. He puts it extremely well. Having the ability to end one's own life without judgment, pain, etc. may, in fact, extend one's life. Yes. Allow this. Yes, I believe doctor-assisted suicide should be legal in more places. I think it should be legal. But only after seeing a doctor and waiting a few months after signing up. You never know what might change one's mind last minute. Yes. Life just isn't meant for some people. And it would be better for them to not suffer. The only reason people say no is for how it would affect other people. But that's not fair. So many mental illnesses are treatable. Not really. That's a lie they tell you to not lose hope. Mental illness is a lifelong condition that can make life unbearable. I still wish I succeeded 5 years ago. 100% it should be. But under strict conditions. It's your life and you should have a choice. Let people die if they want to. This world is only getting worse. What's the alternative? Work non-stop until you retire? Depressed, mentally ill or not? You shouldn't have to be forced to live like this. You absolutely should have the choice for assisted suicide. Yes. It's a personal decision that shouldn't be left for anyone else to make. Yes, I should have the right to die if I want to. No. I do think that potentially assisted suicide for terminally ill patients and patients in extreme circumstances should be possible. But I don't think we should allow that for the rest of society. How about instead of pushing to allow for assisted suicide, we instead took things like mental health and overall health way more seriously? What if we pushed to be a more unified people? What if our communities were more open and welcoming and helpful to people in need? Why? Because by allowing assisted suicides, you give up ever solving the problem that created the situation where someone feels like they should have access to assisted suicide. You also proliferate a culture where people feel like when things are hard they can just end it all. This would destroy individuals, families, communities, and our society as a whole. There is a better alternative. And I know that's not something people considering suicide want to hear. But if people living in countries far worse than our own can make it, we can do much better to solve our societal ills. Assisted suicide is legal in Canada. And it should be. Who wants to live with a terminal disease and suffer for the last miserable years of their lives? In a perfect world, maybe. But can you imagine when someone uses it for sinister purposes? But I guess that goes for a lot of things. Suicide should absolutely be legal. And if we could set up a system where nobody has to fish you out of the river, scrape you off the street, discover you hanging from the rafters, etc., that would be preferable. Yes. I do. The one caveat that comes to mind is I don't think it should be an option for those with children under 18. I don't think you should have to have a terminal illness to qualify. But that does seem like the obvious place to start. I absolutely do.
Yes.
I think it should be legal. But only after you resolve any legal and financial disputes, including how your remains are to be handled, and any children or pets to be cared for, are found to be of sound mind and are determined to not be under duress. Have had time with a counselor to determine that it is not acute depression. Sought help and is documented. Your method of death has been looked at and found not to be cruel to others. After those steps have been met, have at. Die how you want to. Hospice is assisted suicide. They just limit it to the terminally ill. No one talks about it. But that's how it works. The secret code words are quality of life. Morphine. Dilaudid. Cut off of all fluids. Takes about 3 days. The drugs keep them calm and pain-free. Usually in coma by day 1. They encourage family and friends to sit and read, talk to them. The companionship helps keep them calm. Helps you accept the change. A good staff just leaves you grateful. In the U.S., Medicare covers most of the cost.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.